Welcome to channel Unveiling Mysteries. A respected high monk at a temple met an online streamer, and their clandestine affair ultimately took an unexpected turn, preventing the monk from maintaining his spiritual purity. Central Television News reported that an abbot of a temple in Sichuan had to pay 3.2 million yuan after having a sexual relationship with a female streamer. Today, let us discuss the truth behind this case. Mahogany furniture. For this product, the target customers are usually those who are not short of money, because mahogany is an irreplaceable resource. Each tree cut down is a tree lost. This makes us cherish it even more, and in the future, mahogany will become increasingly rare. The main characters of the story are a married couple. They operate a brand of mahogany furniture. Since the pandemic began, their business has become increasingly difficult, so they shifted from direct sales to online sales. The wife, Xiao Chai, became an online sales streamer, while her husband, An Quan, was responsible for ordering and cooperating with manufacturers to increase online traffic and expand their customer base. Xiao Kai not only diligently learned online streaming skills, but also interacted with customers for hours every day to attract traffic. She also learned how to apply makeup to become more attractive. After a long time, Xiao Kai became a famous streamer in the mahogany furniture business. In late 2020, a wealthy male customer came to her live stream room. He attracted attention because every time he entered the live stream, he spent a lot of money buying furniture. Of course, with such a customer, he couldn't help but attract the attention of the beautiful streamer. The wealthy man quickly became An Dai on the list. An Dai here is not a person's name, but a nickname for VIP customers in each live stream. An Dai is the title for the most prestigious person, which not only means receiving respect and special treatment from the streamer, but also represents his strong financial power and status in the live stream room. After An Dai placed a large order, he immediately sent a private message to Xiao Kai to ask for her WeChat information. This was not unusual, as first-time customers might also return for a second purchase. Therefore, to maintain the relationship with An Dai, Xiao Chai agreed. From then on, the two began to chat via WeChat. Initially, it was nothing more than a normal conversation between a customer and a seller. However, it's unknown whether Xiao Chai subtly hinted at something, or if An Dai was simply attracted by her alluring figure, but each of their messages seemed to open up something enticing. In short, the relationship between the two developed rapidly, coupled with An Dai's lavish spending, which filled the streamer with excitement. 2 months after the Lunar New Year, after many conversations, their relationship progressed to the point where they wanted to meet in person. On February 24, 2021, the streamer traveled alone to Sichuan to meet An Dai. They had a rendezvous at a large hotel in Chengdu. But only then did she discover that An Dai was actually a bald old man. However, whether this person was a monk or not was irrelevant to her. What was important was whether he could provide sufficient financial support. A married woman and a monk. Ultimately, they could not restrain their desires. Their relationship quickly ignited. After their passionate encounter in bed, they continued to embrace and chat. Old habits die hard. If there was a first time, there would be a second. Communication via WeChat and mobile phone became increasingly frequent. However, they couldn't imagine the consequences of their actions. And eventually, the streamer's husband discovered everything. In August 2022, An Quan accidentally found chat logs on his wife's mobile phone. Qian was astonished to learn that his wife had been having an affair with An Dai. Qian became furious, as no one could remain calm knowing they had been betrayed. The first thing that came to Qian's mind was revenge. wanting to knock out a few of An Dai's front teeth. But then he realized that this was not practical, because the adulterer was in Chengdu, Sichuan. Even if he went, he would need to know his opponent's name, residence, and other information before setting off. Therefore, An Quan demanded his wife, Xiao Kai, provide information about An Dai so that Qian could punish the betrayer. However, his wife didn't want him to do that. She warned Qian that the other party was a privileged individual holding the position of abbot at a famous temple in Sichuan. In 1999, Fang Zheng became a monk and later studied at Guangde Buddhist Academy and Minnan Buddhist Academy, graduating from the Department of Buddhism at the Central University for Nationalities in 2005. He was then appointed as the abbot of Dafo Temple in Pujiang County. To become an abbot, a monk must satisfy a number of strict conditions, including at least 15 years of spiritual practice and observing the 3 highest precepts. The importance of this position needs no further explanation. In addition, Fang Zheng held many other roles, such as a member of the Sichuan Provincial People's Congress and a member of the Buddhist Association. Qian found information about An Dai's monastic place, Dafo Temple in Chengdu. Dafo Temple is located within the Dafo Lake Ecotourism Area, 86 kilometers from the Aodao Expressway. The temple was built in 225 during the Shu Han dynasty and became the hermitage of General Guan Yu. In 1992, the government officially approved Dafo Temple as a Buddhist activity site. With the mind of a businessman, An Quan quickly put 2 and 2 together. Seeing that An Dai was not only a high monk, but also a very important person in the Buddhist community, he not only felt relieved of his anger towards his wife, but also became very excited about the potential opportunity. A beautiful streamer and a famous high monk, this was truly a gold mine to be exploited. He began preparing for the shocking events to come. At this moment, An Dai in the live stream room could never have imagined that everything he had built would be ended by a female streamer and her husband. First, Qian told his wife that making money was the important thing. Then Qian revealed his entire plan to his wife, encouraging her to find a way to lure this high monk once again. Regarding the girl's psychology, we don't know exactly, but we can guess that she carried out the scenario her husband had arranged. As An Quan predicted, the lecherous monk was not afraid and accepted the invitation to meet his mistress. Of course, An Quan couldn't help but be surprised by the audacity of this lecherous monk. On July 27, 2022, Fang Zheng joyfully traveled from Chengdu, Sichuan province, to the rendezvous point designated by his mistress, a hot spring resort hotel in Xianyu County, Fujian province. However, at this moment, the old man was unaware that a large conspiracy was being orchestrated behind the scenes. In the first step, An Quan asked his wife to maintain a normal, intimate relationship with the lecherous monk, then invited him to Fujian for a trip. In the second step, Qian had set up recording devices in the room beforehand, then recorded all the activities of his wife and the lecherous monk in the hotel. In the third step, to avoid a situation of lacking confidence due to insufficient evidence, An Quan hid in another room and monitored the entire process live via the recording camera. Meanwhile, the streamer was also very passionate with her high-level techniques, making the corrupt monk utterly infatuated, not allowing him to have any suspicion. The meal in bed left the lecherous monk very satisfied when he returned, and the couple was also very satisfied with the excellent video they had in hand. For them, it was not just a video, but a bottomless ATM card. An Quan was truly very patient, because their plan was still missing the final step. Continue to follow to learn more about what would happen in the next 2 months. Based on An Quan's plan, The couple brought the evidence and went to Chengdu, the city where the lecherous monk resided. The streamer informed the lecherous monk that she had arrived in Chengdu and wanted to invite him to a hotel to continue their pleasure. The monk had no suspicions and even flattered himself that his vigor had made the young wife irresistible. He was very excited as he opened the hotel room door. But this time, Fang Zheng was truly surprised, because in the room there was not only his mistress, but also her husband. The lecherous monk was an experienced person. In this situation, he coldly denied the illicit relationship between the two. But An Quan had also anticipated this reaction from the other party. Qian smiled lightly and said, "This is like not seeing the coffin, not shedding tears yet." Next, Qian proceeded to the main event, presenting undeniable evidence. This time, the lecherous monk was truly stunned, because the images showed him and Xiao Chai in a hotel, having fun together. Now this immoral monk could no longer deny it. There's a saying, all problems can be solved with money, and if you have money, then it's no longer a problem. The lecherous monk also knew that spending money to soothe the situation was the best way at this moment. In the first round of negotiations, the lecherous monk, just like when he became An Dai, was very generous, immediately offering 1 million yuan. Finally, the two men negotiated and agreed to 1 million yuan in cash, in addition to purchasing 1 million yuan worth of mahogany furniture. 1 million yuan. After the negotiation, the lecherous monk wanted to resolve the issue quickly. So, he immediately pulled out his phone and made an online transfer. The couple swiftly received the money, happy to pay off debts and spend. If everything had ended there would be no reason for me to make this video. While An Quan was delighted with the large sum of money, a suspicion simultaneously arose in his mind. It seemed this monk was not short of money. Even after easily spending 2 million yuan, he probably had tens or even hundreds of millions of yuan in his account. Therefore, in February 2023, An Quan went to meet the monk alone in Sichuan again. The monk knew that this time, Qian definitely came with ill intentions. He hid in the temple, unwilling to meet. But An Quan, who had come all the way from Fujian, could not let his effort go to waste. Qian contacted the monk's friends and announced that if he still didn't show up, he would expose everything about him online, ruining his reputation. At this point, the lecherous monk could no longer restrain himself. But no matter how angry Fang Zheng was, he feared his misdeeds would be revealed. Therefore, the monk arranged for his disciple to negotiate with An Quan. After several rounds of negotiation, they finally agreed that the monk would pay An Quan an additional 3.2 million yuan. The payment method would be 1.2 million immediately, with the remaining 2 million yuan paid at a rate of 1 million per year over 2 years. This time, the lecherous monk was actually a bit smarter. They reached an initial agreement, and everything seemed to proceed smoothly. Neither side wanted to escalate the issue. But perhaps after some time, the old man finally remembered that he had studied law for so many years, and in it was the advice that money is not the problem. Greed for money is the problem. Therefore, he increasingly felt that if this nightmare continued, the extortionists might keep asking for more money. Unlike the previous 2 million yuan that was paid without clear reason, he proposed that the condition for providing the money was that the couple must draw up a formal agreement. When Qian saw this, he still felt that money came too easily compared to working from morning till night selling mahogany furniture. Just pay the money. The agreement didn't matter. Once the lecherous monk completed the agreement, he immediately transferred 1.2 million yuan to Qian's account. From this, the couple had already pocketed 3.2 million yuan, with an additional 2 million to be paid gradually in the future, totaling 5.2 million yuan. In Qian's eyes, his plan had unfolded smoothly. However, change came swiftly. Just as Qian was basking in his triumph, the police knocked on the door. So, what happened? An agreement had been made, hadn't it? The problem was that after some deliberation, the lecherous monk still feared that he would continue to be an ATM for that couple. That's when he remembered the agreement in his hand, signed by the other party. Therefore, he decided to report it to the police. With the efforts of all parties involved, the police quickly arrested the female streamer and her husband. Finally, this case is about to go to court. The prosecution claims that the couple set a trap to defraud and appropriate property amounting to 3.2 million yuan. This is an exceptionally large sum, violating relevant criminal law regulations. Both the couple are considered to be equally guilty, with Qian as the mastermind and Xiao Chai playing the role of accomplice, thus receiving a lighter sentence than her husband. But will the abbot escape legal punishment? Of course not. The monk's decision to report to the police was a move that completely backfired. When paying the money, he didn't hesitate. How could a monastic person acquire such a large sum of money? Perhaps it was from legitimate certified income, or perhaps from using the temple's public funds. On October 8th, a journalist from Sichuan Provincial Ethnic and Religious Affairs Commission stated that Abbot Fang Zheng had been suspended from all his positions. This incident continued to pique people's curiosity. They began searching for information about the female streamer online. After some time, they finally found what was believed to be the streamer's social media account. From the photos, it appeared that the streamer was indeed very beautiful. Despite having given birth, her figure remained very attractive. Her beauty and seductive body were the reasons she became the center of attention. This case once again sparked public interest in online live streaming platforms and also highlighted concerns about the internal management of religious organizations. Keywords like female streamer, abbot, adultery, extortion, all made people curious. But if analyzed from a moral perspective, all three were caught in the trap of greed. Greed here has many meanings. Greed for lust, greed for money. Monastics breaking their vows is not unfamiliar to us. But in this case, as the abbot of a famous temple and also a member of the 13th Sichuan Provincial Committee of the CPPCC, this brings negative influence and defilement to all monastics in the country of 1 billion people. Moreover, for a monk to possess such a large amount of wealth could also reflect his own greed. As for the female streamer, due to greed, she did not hesitate to betray her marriage and have an affair with a wealthy man. Whether the person was a Buddhist or not was unimportant. What mattered was whether he would continue to provide for her. Such cases are not the first to occur in the streamer community. Xiao Chai's husband, An Quan, was even more contemptible for allowing his wife to participate in such disgraceful behavior, even considering it normal. He could even watch the intimate footage of his wife. I began to doubt whether they were truly husband and wife. In short, all three failed to adhere to ethics, and ultimately all suffered losses, becoming the subject of public ridicule. Since the incident is recent and unresolved, it has not yet been determined where the lecherous monk obtained such a large sum of money, whether through embezzlement or illicit business activities. There is also no information yet on the legal penalties for these three individuals. We will need time for answers. In conclusion, this incident is not just a fascinating story about marital infidelity involving a monastic, but also a profound lesson about greed and morality in modern society. The three main characters in this story all fell into the trap of greed and instinct, forcing them to face severe consequences. From the abbot, with his noble position as the head of a temple, falling into a vortex of lust, it shows that no one is immune to making mistakes. The important thing is to learn from mistakes and rise afterward. Conversely, the married couple lost something more important than money: trust and morality. They gambled their family relationship and personal dignity for material gain. Overall, this story serves as a meaningful warning about upholding ethics and trust in today's society. It reminds us that any action must be evaluated based on moral values and trust, and that greed never brings lasting happiness. This concludes the story. The valuable lessons from the mistakes of these three characters will be a foundation for us to grow and progress further in life. Remember that ethics and trust are always precious companions that help us overcome all challenges. Don't forget to subscribe to the Unveiling Mysteries channel to always receive the latest videos that help you achieve success in life. Thank you for following and accompanying the channel.